Hi, Neil. Thank you very much for your time today, for being here for the Uruguayan employer branding community. So I would love you to present yourself for this community.
Hi, Pamela. Thank you for inviting me. So for everyone, I'm Neil Rojas. I am the co-founder of Workbean. Workbean is an employer branding agency and consultancy firm in the Philippines. We work with some of the largest corporations in the country, and we focus on EVP development, brand building, as well as employee activations and other campaign activations as well.
Awesome. And how long are you with Workbean? It's sounding a lot in social media of Philippines, right?
So we recently had an event 2 weeks ago where I asked you to speak. Thank you very much for that. Workbean was actually founded in 2018, if I remember that correctly, latter part of 2018. The way it went was I was in Singapore taking my master's. And that's where I happened to talk to my now co-founder, Cass. She was working at LinkedIn back then. And we thought of like setting up a company in the Philippines focusing on providing employees and potential talents a glimpse or a story of what it's like to work with the different companies that are actively hiring in the Philippines.
Awesome. So congratulations for that, of course. And now I would love to ask you a bit about how you see, in big aspects, of course, the evolution of employer branding in your country at Philippines.
Mm-hmm. That's quite an interesting story to tell. So I've been working for the past, I don't want to reveal my age, but I've been working for the past 13, 14 years. And even back then, the war for talent was very strong in the BPO sector. So, in case you don't know what BPO means, that's business process outsourcing. A lot of that involves customer service work, wherein companies in the US, companies in Europe hire Filipinos here in the Philippines to be their customer service representatives. That's quite a big industry in the Philippines, generating around $30 billion in contributing $30 billion every year in the country's GDP. Even back then, there was a lot of hiring, and much more so now. Some of these companies, they hire hundreds, if not thousands, of employees every month. So you can just imagine their size and the demand for talent. That was, I guess, latter part of the 2000s. And now we have over 1,000 BPO companies in the Philippines. And you'd see whenever you go to social media pages such as Facebook, even Instagram, even TikTok, a lot of these companies are advertising their hires, they're advertising their EVPs, why you should join us. They're even advertising signing bonuses, just to be able to attract talent. So I would say even back then, 13, 14 years ago, that type of war for talent has always been there. But in the past 3 to 5 years, that's when we started seeing the large corporations or even the mid-sized corporations adapt to employer branding. And this has actually been accelerated during the pandemic. The 2020 lockdown, a lot of companies started to hire for digital talent. And in digital talent, you don't have to be in Manila, where most of the companies are. You can be anywhere in the Philippines. So in terms of recruitment marketing, in terms of making a lot of noise on social media, that's when we started to see a lot of companies adapt to different tactics to attract different types of talent.
Yeah, totally. Great to hear. So when we spoke a bit the other time, we agreed that somehow the Philippines market regarding employer branding is very similar to the stage that Uruguay is as for employer branding. But we know this is totally different when we talk about the world. So what's your vision about employer branding in the world? Like, how do you see it? The demand, it's important for companies.
So I would say I think connecting this question to my experience in attending last year's World Employer Branding Day in Portugal, one of the talks there mentioned that the demand for talent now is evolving in a way that particular skill sets need to be combined with another set of skills. So for example, you're a marketer, but you also need to understand how AI works. You're a banker, you also need to understand how sorry, I guess a better example would be employer branding professionals. You're as an HR professional, your skill set is mostly in recruiting, in HR operations. But now the demand for HR professionals is that they also have to have skill for marketing, because we have to not just sell the job, but sell the company that, hey, this is more than this is more than a job, this is more than a salary, this is more than benefits. This is actually a great place to work at. You spend 8 to probably 10 hours of your day every day with your coworkers. Is that going to be a good environment? Is that going to be a place where you can pursue your dreams? So I guess going back to the question, the big evolution in employer branding is there has to be um, a combination of skill sets that will be required from talent. Another one would be with the recent explosion of ChatGPT, we know that the fifth industrial revolution has started, in that humans have to find a way to be able to interact with all of these AI tools, to be able to be more productive. Um, is it going to replace some jobs, or is it going to augment what um, what humans are already doing? So that's something that will definitely impact employer branding moving forward. And I guess the third point that I want to make here is um, I saw this during the pandemic and the lockdown season. A lot of companies outside the Philippines were actually hiring Filipino talent because remote work is is a mainstay. So now I have a lot of friends that prefer to work online, even if it's, let's say, the US shift. So the US shift here would be 10 in the evening to probably around 6 in the morning. They'd prefer that because of, well, number one, the opportunity to be to 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 experience, I guess, a more advanced process, a more advanced technology. And another one would be to augment their salaries. So just to give you a background about salaries in the Philippines, I think in a study that I read, I think maybe last week or 2 weeks ago, the Philippines is, I think, 100 ranked 115 in the world in terms of average salaries. So you could just imagine how much that is. Um, I guess a quick benchmark would be $400, 300, no, sorry, 300, 300 to 315 US dollars a month. That's the average salary in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And if they can get a job working for another company abroad, even though they have to adjust their time from morning to night shift, then they would gladly get that if they can get at least 3 to 5 times their pay.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. AI is coming for change, and I
Mhm,
think that it will make everything quicker to do.
mhm,
But there are something like human interactions
mhm,
or the human perspective of really understanding the brand and connecting to each candidate in a personal way is what makes the difference today because of that. So yes. Okay, thank you for your approach, for your opinion. Now, as I said, you are talking to the Uruguayan new community, let's say, of employer branding, but it involves a lot of people from HR, managers, and also from marketing that are looking to this new side of marketing, which is marketing for recruitment marketing. And there are some Argentinians as well. So what would you say to us that we are a pretty new community, as you might know? So what would you say to us from the Philippines to Uruguay?
So as you mentioned earlier, Pamela, we are, I guess, at very similar stages on where we are in the employer branding industry. And I would say, based on what I'm seeing, not just in the Philippines, but even in Southeast Asia, this is a very exciting industry to be in. It's some of the factors that I mentioned above. There's the need for talent is evolving. We are undergoing the fifth industrial revolution. And the way that employer branding professionals need to constantly evolve to adapt to those changes in talent requirements, changes in job role, especially when AI comes into the picture, that's going to take a lot of innovation from employer branding professionals like us. And there's only room for growth in this industry. I don't think it will ever go away. As I said, HR people now, we have to be marketers as well. And that's always a very exciting job to be in and very exciting job to do.
Yeah. Okay, Neil, thank you so much for your time. It was really nice having you here. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela, and thank you for inviting me.
Thanks.